Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Gouki Yugioh deck profile for post Dual Power. With the release of Dual Power, we got a couple of the Gouki cards we've been waiting quite a while on, and I decided to do an update to the deck. It's a lot of fun if you don't know what the Gouki archetype is all about. It's basically making a bunch of different link monsters using the Goukis that you can special summon out to the field very quickly, as well as using all their different spell cards they have for the deck. They just do a bunch of different effects along with the different lineup of link monsters you use. I always try to remain as pure to the Gouki support that I can with my deck profiles. I think it's a lot more fun that way with this deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the Gouki monsters, I run 3 Gouki Suprex. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 Gouki monster from your hand, and if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Suprex. You can only use this effect of Suprex once per turn. So a good amount of the Gouki monsters have that sent effect, which helps for a lot of search. Since it says a Gouki card, you can search even for some of the spell cards, or a different Gouki monster that you might need for some of your other plays. But Suprex really does set up your link plays, being able to get out one of the higher level Gouki monsters from your hand to the field much faster. I also run 3 Gouki Twist Cobra. With Twist Cobra, it's a quick effect. You contribute 1 Gouki monster, then target 1 Gouki monster you control. It gains attack equal to the original attack of the tributed monster until the end of its turn. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Twist Cobra. You can only use each effect of Twist Cobra once per turn. So the tribute effect really does come in handy for those power plays. Plus, Twist Cobra is also one of the more lower level Gouki monsters, so much easier to get onto the field to use. I think the hardest thing is just when you have too many of the high level Gouki monsters that you want to make use of for your extra deck plays. So just being able to rely on low level cards like Twist Cobra and Suprex for your plays definitely does come in handy. And for some of the easier special summons, I also run 3 Gouki Headbat. If this card is in your hand, you can send 1 other Gouki monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then target 1 Gouki monster you control, special summon this card in defense, and if you do, the targeted monster gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Headbat. So just more special summon options, since Twist Cobra and Suprex can rely on their normal summons to get out to the field. And also with Headbat, you just have that option to set up some other Goukis in your graveyard to special summon out with cards like Gouki Rematch. I also run 3 Gouki Octo Stretch. If your opponent's monster attacks during damage calc, you can discard this card, and then the damage you take from that battle is halved. And when your opponent activates an effect that would inflict damage to you during the damage step, a quick effect, you can discard this card. The damage you take is halved. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card. So the first 4 that we went over all have the sent effect, but Octo Stretch is just good for protecting yourself from damage, but still very usable for going into some of your bigger Gouki link plays. For some of the lower numbers that I run for the Gouki deck, I run 2 Scorpio. If you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are Gouki monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card. So just an easier one to get out on the field. If I don't, have the Gouki lineup, I can always just special summon it off of Suprex as well, but only 2. I don't really need any other options since you can search this card as well, so just remember that with your other lineups. For some of the other one-ofs, I have them as one-ofs just for easier searches, since they can be searched for the from the Gouki cards. So 1 Ring Trainer, just if you control no monsters, you can reveal this card in your hand, then target 1 Gouki link monster in your graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, then special summon the target, but it loses 500 attack. You can only use the effect of Ring Trainer once per turn, and while you control a Gouki link monster, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. So just an easy way to get some of your resources back from the graveyard. Also 1 Bear Hug. If it's special summoned by the effect of a Gouki card or normal summon, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its original attack until the end of the turn. And if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can have 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Bear Hug. So more search options there. I also just run the 1 Moonsault for more of the power plays, and also 1 Tag Partner just for the link monster, that you can have 1 Gouki monster gain 1000 attack for the boost, and during the main phase that this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 Gouki spell in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. So you can reuse cards like Rematch if you've gone through them all late game with Tag Partner, which definitely does come in handy for just reusing those cards later on, because by the time that does happen where you need to recycle them, you should have a good amount of Gouki monsters in your graveyard already. And for some of the more generic monster support, I just run 3 junk forward. I do run a generic lineup of Link monsters, which we'll get to a bit in the extra deck, that definitely do help with some of your other plays if you don't have Gouki options to go for. Just having some of these other monsters to work with your maybe one of Gouki monsters can really help, especially if you have cards like Rematch, but you just don't have enough Goukis in the graveyard to use. Those generic links can come in handy by just getting your other monsters into the graveyard, and junk forward being an easy special summon before you get out your Goukis can definitely help as well. And the same goes for 2 Marauding Captain and 1 Spell Striker, just easy with the banish of the spells to summon this card out. And with Marauding Captain, basically you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower monster from your hand when it is normal summon. So you have options just for quicker monsters and specifically warriors to get out onto the field with these cards. And lastly, for the monsters, I'm running 2 Effect Veiler. This is just personal preference for hand traps in this deck. You can run Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre, Ghost Bell if you want to swap this for another option. That's completely up to the player. For this last 2 spot, if you wanted to bump it up to 3, you can take out the Spell Striker and then have the 3rd hand trap option as well for these cards. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 2 Gouki Rematch. You target 2 Gouki monsters in your graveyard with different levels. Special summon them. In defense, you can only activate 1 Gouki Rematch per turn. So the defense is really not that situational anymore. If you do use them for link summons, there's that. But we have Jet Ogre, which we'll get to in a bit in the extra deck, which definitely does help with basically changing all monsters on the field to face-up attack, which works really, really well with the Rematch. So when we get to the extra deck, go over that some more. I also run the 1 Gouki Cage Match. I only run the 1 of this because it is searchable. You don't really need more cage matches. When this card is activated, you place 3 counters on this card. If your Gouki monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you remove 1 counter from this card. And once per turn at the end of the battle, if the last of these counters have been removed this way, you can special summon as many Gouki monsters as possible with different names from your hand and or deck, then place 3 counters on this card. So you have options. It's kind of like a cage match battle with 3 rounds. Very, very interesting take on the field spell, but definitely do like the options you can do with the different Gouki monsters you can make and, you know, battling against your opponent using this card especially. And I also run 2 Gouki Face Turns. You target 1 Gouki card you control and 1 Gouki monster in your graveyard. Destroy that card on the field and then special summon that other monster from the graveyard. You can use it once per turn, but the swap out definitely does matter depending on what other Gouki you might have in your graveyard to use better than some of the other ones if they're, like, let's say, just lower level on the field and all they have otherwise is the search option, but not much else to do on the field. And I also run the 1 Reasoning, just with all the different levels, just an easy special summon from the deck. And also 1 Transmodify and 1 Downbeat going into your different options for your Gouki monsters definitely does come in handy, whether you have to go lower or higher. That definitely does help. And also I run 1 Reinforcements of the Army. You can search out any of your level 4 warriors. So pretty staple most of the time. I definitely do go for the Suprex, so it helps with that search. And I also run the 1 Mind Control. Just that extra monster you can grab from your opponent can definitely help for some of your bigger link plays. Also 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Scapegoat. Now the Scapegoat definitely for the fact that Security Dragon just needs 2 monsters, and it's one I definitely do like to use with my co-link plays, and Monster Reborn just being able to revive some of my Gouki monsters as well to use is a big help. And lastly, I run 2 Call by the Grave, just, you know, being able to stop my opponent's hand traps when they try and stop my special summons. Definite key card to use hand trap wise as well. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra. I run 2 of the new Gouki Jet Ogre. You need 2 Gouki monsters to make this. Once per turn, you can target 1 Gouki card you control, destroy it, and if you do, change all monsters on the field to face-up attack position. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can make all Gouki monsters you currently control gain 500 attack until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect of Gouki Jet Ogre once per turn, but with Rematch, that attack position play definitely does help just to get some of your stronger Gouki monsters, let's say that you revived, into attack position. If you're not going to use them for link summon, then just be able to attack with them. Then the power boost with Jet Ogre. Plus, I really do like the arrow lineup for it. Definitely does help with your plays also. And I also run one Gouki Yugioh for the last of the Gouki Link 2s. When a monster this card points to activates the effect, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Then you can special summon one Gouki monster from your graveyard except for Yugioh. Some more options, negation and special summon. And for your Link 3s, I run one Gouki Great Ogre and one Gouki Thunder Ogre. Great Ogre, definitely, since the original Gouki deck, was one of your true play cards for all your moves that you would go for. For the Link 4s, I run one Gouki the Master Ogre and one Giant Ogre. Just having these Link options, you can get a lot of Gouki monsters out in the field, so just being able to get these powerhouses against your opponent, especially paired up with some cards like Cage Match, you can hit for some pretty big damage and attacks with their own effects. And then for the generic monsters, I run one Link Kuriboh. You have the Scapegoat option and the Octo Stretch in the deck, so very easy to make this card. And also the one Security Dragon, we were talking about the Scapegoats, so having it paired up with your Link Kuriboh makes you options, so when it's co-linked, you can target one monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand, so once you have this set up, you're good to go for your special summon plays. And I also run one Underclock Taker and one Mrs. Radiant, just for the Earth option with all the monsters we run. And also I run the one Nightmare Cerberus, one Nightmare Phoenix, the Triple Burst Dragon, and Borreload Dragon to finish off the extra deck. If you have Boral Sword, you can swap it out for the Borreload. This is just a little more, I would say, budget option for those players that don't have Boral Sword yet. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hoping to get some more decks out from the Dual Power. Definitely having a lot of fun just with all the different options we can do with the new cards we receive. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.